what I always say and encourage is take your time during the design process, think it through properly. Don't rush just for the sake of getting a shovel in the ground. Like that project that didn't have the proper setbacks that I was referring to. And I've actually, years ago, there was one project where they actually demolished their addition that we're living in before they got their permits, before everything was finalized. And in that case, actually, they found out that it didn't meet what we were planning, didn't meet the setbacks. Fortunately, we were able to go through a minor variance process, but that took almost a year for approvals before we could actually get going with the project. So all this time they were without the space they tore out. So also important is selections working together. So things like using a range hood, for example. What if there's a beam in the way? Should we not think about the ducting beforehand? Or what about the cabinet design itself? So we select all these cabinets just to find out that when we come to move the fridge in, that clunk. Okay, now what do we do? Everything's finished, the house is mostly cleaned, we're moving in the appliances and the fridge doesn't fit. And can you imagine also just how the builder feels, how the trades feel? One of the worst things we can do as builders is invite the trades back to tear apart the work that they already did. So it's just not a good feeling. So why not take the time to plan these things up front? From my perspective, that's the only time we can make promises of being on time and on budget. And we actually promise that in writing. Here's a good example. Our client was a trained chef, so his goal was to build a chef's kitchen. And I remember when I first met them, I went into their house, sat at their dining room, and they had all the appliances stacked against the wall. So they had the fridge, the stove, the warming drawers, and part of that was a range hood. So, and it was what I call a monster range hood, but it was an industrial-sized range hood that I swear could literally lift the pot lids off the pots on the stove. And because it had such high CFM, or sort of like high velocity air that it's moving, the danger with that is, first off, carbon monoxide poisoning. So if your house is airtight, we have a super high efficiency or super strong range hood, then we can have carbon monoxide being pulled into the house. So worst case scenario of that is certainly death. In this particular case, actually, it was so simple yet so complicated. And picture bringing in so the simple solution is bring up make-up air. So just bring in fresh air so that so everything works together. But then picture minus 30-degree air coming into the house, up through your cabinets to offset what the fan is doing. So it actually took us weeks of figuring out how to adopt this range hood. And it was very complex. There was a lot of issues, and cost being one of the issues, because we came up with some great, very expensive solutions, but that didn't make sense either. But what if we didn't discover this early on? What if the inspector walks into the house and goes, "Oh, your range hood is too powerful. What about your make-up air?" Then what do? Then we have to rip stuff apart. So again, I can picture that telling a homeowner that, "Oh, by the way, we have to rip apart half your kitchen because of the range hood you supplied." Well, really? And what's the homeowner going to say? Well, aren't you supposed to know what you're doing? So it's critical to have those difficult conversations during the planning process, not during the construction process. There's a lot of variations of contractors. There's a lot of variations of getting things done. There is no absolute right and wrong whatsoever. Key is the contractor or the renovator matching your project. Are they a good fit? There's contractors out there that might specialize in commercial construction. So are they the best ones to do your bathroom remodel? Maybe, maybe not.